it lingers. It lingers in your lungs. Brought the Barn Find Ford GT up to Alpharetta to DC Motor Works, Cameron Davis's shop here, and he is going to wake this car up. We got it to start, but it only runs on half its motor. There's a lot of, likely fuel pump issues and the fuel pump controllers and the kind of common things that people see on Ford GTs. And for one that's been sitting for maybe 15 years, these are to be expected, but this is the man to bring it back.
Hey everyone, and welcome back to DC Motor Works. My name is Cameron, and today in front of me I've got a nice surprise from my good friend Ed Bolian from VinWiki, and his friend Matthew Ivanhoe from the Cultivated Collector recently acquired the Mold GT that we have in front of us.
We have a car. We have a car.
Oh!
You look fantastic, my friend.
Protected and professional.
Woo! So this has sat for around 15 years in a garage, and like I said, it's a little moldy, has been untouched for all this time, so we're gonna try and get it running well in this video. So we're hoping for a drain on the fuel tank to drain the at least probably 15-year-old fuel out of the Ford GT. If you have a look here, here's the fuel tank. You can see it from the front compartment with the luggage compartment removed. Check this out. Fuel tank runs all the way down the center of the car to the rear. That's how I guess they snuck in some fuel capacity on this. Unfortunately, there is no drain, so we're gonna have to use alternative methods to get the fuel out of this. We'll get it down and see what the next option is going to be. I'm probably gonna stick cameraman in there because he's a little smaller than me to get into the decapitation doors here. I think I'm gonna take the other route of just triggering the relays. Instead of trying to crawl in there, it'll just be a little easier to deal with. So, got my diagram pulled up. You see our fuse boxes here. You've got your main fuse box there, and that's your auxiliary fuse box up there. We get our diagram because all the relays are the same. If I remember right from looking at it a couple seconds ago, it is those two there. So let me just double check. It's going to be these two relays here, and that'll give us a chance to also test out that both fuel pumps are working. See, that relay was a little loose, so we'll push that one back down. We'll get these two out and see what happens. There's one. I'll keep them in the same spot just for safety's sake. Make sure we're keeping everything the same. And how these will work, these are your signals, and these are actually your part. So we're going to jump these two parts of the relay to give them direct power. Alrighty, so here's my 3 pins. So there's one, let's do this guy first. May need to have the ignition on. Fun. Well, don't think that's part of our scheme here. We'll see if they actually run for any period of time. Watch the bucket. Evan, you can just put your arms near it in case it starts flailing. Mm-hmm. Ready?
Yeah. We got just a couple tablespoons.
All right, let me see if I can jump it. See if maybe this doesn't have power all the time. And of course, as usual, I misplaced my tool. What did I do with it? Here we go. Mechanic trouble is always setting your tools down out of reach. Right, Evan?
Oh, absolutely. At least 3 trips.
All right, I'm gonna do one, then the other, Evan,
Okay.
just so we can test them individually. If that works, we'll pump them both. All right, you ready?
Ready.
Nothing? That's frustrating. Let me cycle the key and we'll see if those are the right relays, if we have the right diagram. So those are the relays. Fuel pump controllers. Did it come out with any kind of vengeance when it kicked on?
Not really.
Just kind of dribbled. Wonder if we bust out the Autel, maybe we can command them on? Trying lots of different theories here. There's 2 control units for the fuel pumps, and if it's not sending power to the relay, then my little trick does not work. Hey Evan, you wanna crawl in here?
Sure.
Sorry, Evan. He said he really wanted to work on the Ford GT, so
Sacrifices I'll make.
yeah. And get decapitated on the way up. Vin and everything already. Look at that. Might be onto something here. Decoding VIN. Let's see if it can figure out what it is. It is just a Ford after all. Honestly, we've had to do stuff like that before to get it to work. Ooh, what year is this one? 2006, okay. I can look at that one. Oh yeah, look at that. Ford GT, 4-valve, 5.4. All others. Canada gets its own. It's Canada or all others. I guess Canadian Ford GTs are super special. So hopefully we can go control unit. Let's go engine computer. Ooh, here we go. Fuel pump on off. So we'll go to that. Function not supported. Great. Never a dull moment. Fuel level is 27%. So if that's accurate, about a quarter tank. We may be able to just apply 12 volts with the jump box and trick it. So, ideas. Yeah, we might have a pump issue or I was looking for a tap on the fuel rail that we could check pressure, but can't do that either. So, Ford did not give us a lot of assistance in diagnosis here. Cycle it for me. It's only turning on 1 fuel pump. It only gives it fuel pump 1. I think we may have some prostate issues here, guys. 1 dribble at a time.
So earlier, Cameron was trying to actuate the fuel pumps, which didn't want to cooperate. And then he actually tried to send power to the fuel pumps to make them pump the fuel out on its own. The fuel was just really awful, old, stale gas. So I took an electric motor, a fuel pump from another vehicle, a used one that we had, and put a hose on the end of it, stuffed the hose down into the fuel tank, and then turned it on with a jump box and pumped all the fuel out of the tank. And then we put wheel chocks under the rear tires to get the car to lean forward, to get all the fuel to lean all the way to the front, to get as much out as we could. But I was able to put the hose in through the filling hole on the tank and pumped it all out as good as we could, added, I don't know, probably 4 or 5 gallons to it, and fired it up and got it to warm up a little bit so Evan would be ready for his oil change, and it ran okay.
So, we've got the Ford GT here, and we are struggling with the oil filter housing, as well as our lower oil pan drain plug. So hopefully we're gonna break it loose and not break it off. All right, that actually wasn't too bad. Just needed a little bit more leverage. And see what this oil looks like. So let's see what 9-year-old oil looks like. A car with low mileage like this is probably gonna be pretty clear. Yep, still pretty amber looking. This is our oil sump tank. So the oil pan does not hold the majority of the oil. Since this is a dry sump tank, or a dry sump engine, the majority of your oil is going to be in this tank that is mounted to the chassis. It's probably going to pour all over the lift arm and make a mess. There we go. Not too bad. So you always want to grab your biggest 1/2-inch ratchet whenever you go to break loose an oil filter housing. So there it is. That actually went nice and easy. You know, I'm just making it look hard. Ooh. There we are. Grab a rag, try not to make a mess. And there we have it. No glitter, always a good thing to look for. Good to go. There we go. Okay, we're good. Not broken. we're good to go.
So our technician Evan here just finished up putting in some special sauce into the Ford GT because this oil is, like we said, about 15 years old. This is the proper spec 5W50 with the proper approval from Ford that is specific to the Ford GT and the Shelby GT500 of this era. So his next process is to prime the oiling system because this is a dry sump. So I'm gonna let Evan take the lead on that and show you the process of getting the oil system full and checking the level and so forth. So we'll turn it over to him.
All right, guys, so since we do have a dry sump engine here, we have an oil tank that is attached to the chassis. And so we have added 9.5 quarts, according to the shop manual, of the 5W50 motor oil into this dry sump tank here. And right now we have drained everything prior to filling it back up. So we need to go ahead and prime the oil system. And Ford does have a procedure for that. And we're going to clutch in all the way, depress the accelerator all the way down. And then that way it'll cut fueling and we'll start it for 20 seconds. And that way it'll use the starter to actually prime the engine. That way we can safely start up the engine, let it idle, come up to operating temperature, shut it off, and then within 1 minute we'll check the oil level and correct it if needed. Go ahead and crank this thing over. Just pressing myself in here.
Would you like a mask?
Oh, it's all right. We do have an immobilizer on here. There we are. So we'll just let the engine do its work, get everything back up to temperature, and we'll check out our fluid levels. Fuel, excuse me, I'm gonna try and pull myself out of this thing in one piece. That is how you exit a Ford GT. All right, so we just get to listen to this beautiful V8 idle and give it maybe 15 minutes to come up to temperature, and we'll give it another check.
So we decided it is time to christen the Ford GT with the, you see it doesn't have a plate, so we need to make sure it fits in here. Look at that. It actually looks pretty good on there.
Ta-da.
The cameraman's got his DC
Look at there.
on today. So that will conclude today with the Ford GT. So make sure to stay tuned for episode 2. And again, thank you all for watching. We look forward to seeing you on the next video.